Before I start with my storytelling, I want to acknowledge that today I am um, zooming in from Treaty 19, which is the Brampton, Mississauga, Caledon, and the Peel region, the stolen land from the Anishinaabes, the Haudenosaunee, the Huron-Wendat, and the Mississaugas of Credit River, and several Métis and Inuit people. And it's such a privilege to be able to tell the stories from my culture and stories that I have grown up with on this beautiful land. So, like Lisa had mentioned in her introduction, that most of the stories that I tell and perform are drawn from my own South Asian heritage and culture. And I'm always fascinated by these stories. My grandmother, who's also a Sharada, was a storyteller herself, and most of these stories that I share here are stories that she shared with me. And growing up, I was always fascinated by the millions of gods who seem to be omnipresent and all-knowing in these stories. Later on, I realized that these gods were as flawed as we human beings are, and so they became more relatable to me. They were not, they were as greedy, they were as prone to anger and other emotions as mere mortals. And I realized that in all of these stories, they were basically reflecting, or they were speaking to a trait, a flaw, which exists within each one of us. So, without much ado, I'll start with the story. Twashtri lived in the heavens and was the artisan of the gods. He made beautiful things for them, including their weapons. Long ago, Twashtri had created a mighty sun, and because he had given him 3 heads, he named him Trishiras. The 3 heads were monstrous, but Trishiras was a great monk. He had controlled his senses and was capable of performing austerities that no one else could. Not the asuras, not the sages, not the demons, not even the gods. When Indra, the king of gods, learned that Trishiras was amassing great powers through the performance of many difficult penances, he became afraid. He better not replace me, he thought to himself. And he started to make plans to destroy Trishiras' concentration. So he went to the beautiful Apsaras, the dancing girls in his court, and said, "Go and dance in front of Trishiras. Take his mind off his austerities. Distract him so that he has to start all over again from the beginning. Do not let him gain the powers he needs to defeat me and take my place as the king of gods," he said. Now the Apsaras quite enjoyed tormenting meditating sages and monks, and had often been successful in destroying their years of hard work and penance. So they got dressed in their finest clothes. They lined their eyes with kohl and colored their lips with the juice of wild berries. And they rubbed their bodies with sweet-smelling oils and perfumes. They wove celestial flowers into their hair and tied little bells on their ankles. But unfortunately, all their swaying and singing and calling out and dancing did nothing at all. Trishiras remained unmoved. The Apsaras returned to Indra and admitted their failure. Indra was no doubt angry. Oh, never mind. I'll think of something else. And he dismissed them. He thought long and hard, and then it occurred to him that he could use his great thunderbolt to slay Trishiras. And in fact, the thunderbolt itself had been created for him by Trishiras' father. So he hurled his mighty bolt with all his strength, and the three-headed monk fell to the ground. But even after he was dead, his body radiated so much heat, so much energy, that Indra was blinded and scorched. As he was running away, he found a simple forest dweller and said to him, Please, please cut off those three heads. I'll send all my powers and the power of my thunderbolt into your axe. Do this for me. Do it now. So the forest dweller swung his axe at Trishiras, and as Trishiras' heads fell to the ground, sparrows, partridges, falcons, quails, they all emerged from them and filled the world. Indra was relieved of this torment, and he and the forest dweller went their separate ways. But by killing Twashtari's son, Indra had committed a grave, grave sin. He had killed a Brahmin, a terrible, terrible act that would come back to haunt him. Twashtari heard about the death of his son and was naturally enraged. He vowed to create an even mightier son who would destroy Indra completely. He started a sacrificial fire, a holy fire, a sacred fire. Into this he poured butter and other magical liquids and herbs, and out of this fire emerged a huge creature, a creature so large that he covered the entire skies and covered the sun. Vritra was its name. Vritra, my son, wrote Twashtari, kill Indra. Vritra set to his task. He was very enthusiastic. He found where Indra lived and he attacked Indra vigorously. The two fought each other many, many, many times. Each was more powerful than the other. There seemed to be no end. Once Vritra even swallowed Indra, and the other gods had to make him yawn so that Indra could slip out of his mouth. Yeah, yawns have since then been a part of our lives on this earth. Now Indra and Vritra fought for days and for nights. They fought for weeks and for months and for years. They would take breaks every now and then, but their duels would resume as ferociously as before. It seemed as if Indra would never be able to defeat Vritra. Finally, the gods, tired of all these battles, gathered and went to Vritra. They said to him, Indra cannot defeat you, and you cannot defeat him either. Look what you've done. You filled the entire universe. The sky is dark, and you hold back the waters of the rivers. Earth is dying. People are dying. Can you not live in friendship with Indra? Vritra smiled and said, Yes, I can. But you must promise me that the gods will not kill me. They must not attack me. They must not attack me with anything that is wet or dry, anything that is made of stone or of wood, neither by thunderbolt nor by any other weapon, neither during the day nor the night. If you agree to these conditions, I will stop fighting. The gods agreed and went away happily. But Indra was not. He was seething with rage. He was jealous. He was angry. He was afraid. He knew he had to kill Vritra if he was ever going to be safe again. One evening, as the sun was setting, he saw Vritra sitting alone on the shore of the ocean. He remembered the conditions that the gods had agreed upon, and he thought to himself, "It's twilight, so it's neither night nor is it day. I can put all my powers into the foam on the waves, which is neither wet nor dry, nor is it a weapon." So Indra drew all his energies together and sent them into the foam which he directed at Vritra. Now, when the foam struck Vritra, a fever unleashed in his body and he fell. What it did to him was terrible. And the gods stood by, watching in fear and wonder. Vritra's mouth blazed with fire, and a ghastly jackal emerged from it. Flaming meteors rained around him, and vultures and other birds wheeled around his head, shrieking and crying out in hideous voices. When Vritra collapsed and died, the skies cleared. A sweet breeze blew, and all creatures in the three worlds sighed with relief. They clapped and shouted and sang songs of praise. But their celebration was short-lived. There was one more thing for which no one was prepared. Out of Vritra's body came a horrifying creature. She had huge teeth, staring eyes. Her hair was wild. She was skinny as a skeleton. She wore a necklace of skulls, and she was smeared with blood from head to toe. All beings, all creatures, humans, gods, sages, they were petrified. They trembled when they saw her and quickly covered their eyes. They knew she had come for Indra. She was the punishment for what he had done. Now, meanwhile, Indra had run away after killing Vritra, and the three worlds suffered in his absence. The earth turned dry and barren, rivers changed course, lakes disappeared. All creatures, all humans, all trees, all plants were afflicted, but none more so than Indra himself. He was restless. He was feverish. He wasn't comfortable in his own skin. He realized that the ghosts of Trishiras and Vritra, who he had killed, had come to haunt him. He ran. He ran here and there from one end of the three worlds to the other. But nowhere could he find the peace that he sought. Finally, he hid himself inside the stalk of a lotus that bloomed in a faraway lake and stayed there quaking. But the horrifying creature wouldn't let him be. The horrifying creature searched every corner, every nook and corner of the three worlds, and found him inside the lotus stalk. She grabbed him by the neck, and instantly Indra was paralyzed. He could do nothing but pray. Brahma, grandfather of the gods, realized what had happened and intervened. He begged the horrifying creature to give Indra up. She smiled, bared her sharp teeth, and said, "I will return him to you. But what about me? Where will I live? You must find a place for me. I cannot go back to where I came from. So, tell me what I should do. Where can I live?" Brahma thought for a while. And then he called the trees and the plants and the herbs and the grass and said to them, "Take a part of this creature and let her live in you. I promise that she will do you no harm. But the trees and plants and herbs and grass, they trembled and pleaded, O Lord, O Brahma, please do not do this to us. Please do not give her to us permanently. We are already so weak. We bear the wind and the rain and the drought, and the people cut us and break us. Let someone else share this burden. Brahma said, Whoever cuts you and breaks you will be afflicted by this creature too. So remember that the next time you chop a tree. Now go in peace, said Brahma. Then Brahma called the waters to him, the streams, the rivers, and the lakes, and the ocean, and asked him to take the rest of the creature. The waters agreed, but like the trees and the plants and the grass and the herbs, they asked that someone else share the burden too. Brahma said, Well, the people who do not respect the waters, who pollute them with waste matter, with industrial waste, they will suffer for what they have done. And the waters agreed and went away. The creature was distributed among the waters and the plants and the trees and the land. At last, Indra was free. He could go back to rule the kingdom of heaven as before. Till today, it's believed that this creature lives amongst us. She lives in the plants, she lives in the trees, in the herbs, in the grass, and the waters.